Good morning this morning. Welcome to a Let's Dive into the 2026 quarterback recruiting for Ohio State edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor and smash that like button. If you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing. It absolutely helps us. And if at any point during this video you would like to make a comment, please do so down in the comment section below. That helps to expand our audience as well, and we truly do appreciate that. Please consider visiting our website, theohiopodcast.com, for news, articles, and merchandise. So please consider doing that, as well as links to all of our social media sites. And if you need to get a hold of us for any reason, please email the show at theohiopodcast@gmail.com. All right, guys, let's dive into Ohio State recruiting, shall we? So, there is a little bit of an issue with the quarterback recruiting for Ohio State, and that is this. You have back to back 5-star recruits in the 2024 and 2025 class. Julian Sane, and then, of course, you got Taven St. Clair from the state of Ohio. Both those guys are 5-star quarterback recruits. Could Ohio State land a third 5-star recruit in a row? The chances are probably not. It's not really something that you are typically get to see from Ohio State or from any school for that matter in a row. Has it happened? Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely has happened. But in a world where NIL and in a world where NIL and the transfer portal exists, these quarterbacks want to go to places where they are going to get on the field quickly. Plus, added to that, Ohio State already has a commit in the 2027 class, and Brady Edmonds, the Huntington Beach, California quarterback, who's considered a 5-star quarterback in 2027. So, can they can they land four consecutive in a row? That's what you're literally asking here. 25, 24, 25, 26 that we're going to talk about, 27. It's probably not likely. I just think these quarterback recruits kind of look at where everybody's going and they make a determination of what's going to fit best for me. And if they see all those stars at one school with another 5-star coming up behind them, they think to themselves, that's a little bit too much for my competition maybe. I'm not really looking at doing that. I want to get on the field more quickly. What other programs offer me more of an opportunity to see the field within the first year or two? So, that being said, what we're asking Ryan Day and the coaching staff to do here um, is really difficult. It's really difficult. Not to mention Chip Kelly, who was your quarterback coach, is no longer here. And a lot of these guys were guys he was communicating with and working on and recruiting and offers. And now Billy Fessler's stepping in as your quarterback coach. And although he was working with Chip and he has a relationship with all these guys as well, um, the main man's no longer there. And so you kind of have a little bit of a different dynamic in that recruiting relationship, which means you're kind of starting a little bit behind the eight ball. All right, so all of that being said, guys, let's dive into who the 2026 quarterbacks are, and let's talk a little bit about each one of them, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what I think Ohio State's chances are of landing them. All right, let's start here first with the highest ranked one. This is Ryder Lyons. He is a 6'2" and a half, 215-pound quarterback from Folsom County, California. He, according to the 247 Sports Composite, is the 12th highest ranked recruit in the nation, third highest ranked recruit at the position of quarterback. He is currently kind of leaning towards USC, it appears, although Oregon is in the mix as well, as Ole Miss and Michigan have not quit on this recruitment as well. Ohio State is throwing their hat in the mix here for Lyons. And you want to talk about somebody who's got some stats. Listen to these stats from last year, his junior season: 211 completions, 300 attempts, 3,011 yards, 46 touchdowns. And oh, yeah, by the way, his older brother is the tight end for USC as well. So I kind of feel like USC's got the path here for Lions. We'll see if Ohio State can make up any ground on him here, but I don't think that there's a very good chance the Buckeyes land him. He seems like he's going to be someone who stays out west, in my opinion. Moving on to the next highest ranked recruit, let's talk about Jared Curtis. So, Curtis is a 6'4", 225-pound quarterback from Nashville Christian School in Nashville, Tennessee. According to the 247 Sports Composite, he is the second highest ranked recruit in the nation and the number one quarterback. His recruitment has a lot of SEC schools. Oregon has thrown their hat in the mix here, as well as Ohio State. I feel like this is going to be a Georgia get. I just feel like the Bulldogs, unless they really mess things up here, have a pretty good shot at landing Jared Curtis. Uh, Dude's got a big arm, and he seems to be a Southern school kid. So, again, not I don't think Ohio State's really got a great shot here. Never know. NIL could play a part of this, as well as if Georgia takes another step back this year, possibly. He could look at this and think, I don't know that I want to go there, but I doubt that that's the case. I think this is going to be like an Alabama Georgia fight here with the Bulldogs probably in the driver's seat for Jared. All right, next up, we got Brady, and I want to pronounce his last name Schmeagol because Lord of the Rings, but it might have a different pronunciation, maybe Schmeigel or Schmeigel, possibly. But Brady is a 6'5", 205-pound quarterback from Newbury Park, California. He's ranked 68th overall nationally. He's the fifth highest ranked quarterback in the 247 composite rankings. Um, right now, Arizona State, South Carolina seem to be some schools that are high on him. And this is after Brady decommitted from Florida State after being committed to the Seminoles for a while. So Brady reopened his commitment, and when he did, Ohio State jumped on that. Can Ohio State make up some ground on Arizona State, and South Carolina? Possibly. We'll see how this one goes. I would put him ahead of Lyons and Curtis if you ask me my opinion on Ohio State's ability to go after him because of the decommitment. Love the size, super tall. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Will Howard, maybe a little bit more talented of an arm coming out of high school than what Will Howard had, but big frame quarterback, big arm kid, definitely a gamer. So someone that definitely you want to keep your eye on, especially as the recruiting season progresses here. Can Ohio State make a move for Brady? Now, let's move to my favorite guy on this list. This is the quarterback. If you ask me my opinion, this is who Bogsy wants, okay? It's not always the top ranked guys that seem to fit your culture or your team. But this guy right here, this is who Bogsy wants. This is Bo Bentley, everybody. Bo Bentley. So let me talk to you a little bit about Bo here. Bo is a 6'2", 200-pound quarterback from Salina, Texas. He's only ranked 245th nationally. He's only the 16th ranked quarterback, but this is a late bloomer, guys. This is somebody who came on and really just started for the first time this past season. In 2026, he led Salina to a 16-0 record and their first state title down in Texas since 2007 at a Texas powerhouse. He racked up, are you ready for this? 4,200 yards, 63 touchdowns. He was 171 of 245 passing for 3,211 yards and 47 passing touchdowns. He is a true dual threat, dual sport athlete. Uh, he plays soccer, he plays lacrosse, um, this kid is a true athlete, and I love his dual threat ability. I love his legs. The fact that he didn't get a chance to start at Selena until he was a junior kind of tells you he's kind of a late bloomer. Where's the ceiling at? Gets me super excited when he puts up numbers like that in his first year and wins a national champion or wins a state championship for your high school. This is a kid you need to keep your eye on. Can Ohio State kind of really go down to Texas and pluck him away from the big boys who are down in the South down there? Now, when you look at some of his recruitment, um, again, Florida State jumps on him after losing Brady. Ohio State offered him on January 30th. LSU comes in on February 5th and offers him. So those are some of the schools that have offered him late here in the process. Doesn't look like he's got his visits scheduled yet. Other schools that have been kind of looking at him include Indiana. Kind of crazy to think that the Hoosiers could be some competition in the old recruiting department now, but given the year they had, absolutely. Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Oklahoma, K State, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss. That's an interesting one. SMU from down in his home state. These are guys that Ohio State should be able to beat. If this thing comes down to LSU and Ohio State, and if I'm Bo, I'm definitely considering Ohio State over LSU, just given the trajectory of the programs based off the head coaches. But that's my 2 cents. All right, let's keep moving on here. We got a couple more I want to talk about. Let's talk about Brady Palmer. And no, he's not related to Carson Palmer, although I did check. The San Diego, California Central Catholic High School 6'3", 195-pound quarterback is only ranked 637th nationally. He's the 40th highest ranked quarterback in the class. Ohio State offered him as well, kind of late in the process. He is considered at this time, Ohio State kind of considered the leader here in his recruitment. But some of the West Coast teams again: Arizona, USC, Utah, TCU, kind of in the mix for this guy. Washington has offered him. The hometown San Diego State Aztecs offered him. Auburn has offered him. And according to 247 Sports, the top 5 schools that seem to be warm in his recruitment include USC, Utah, TCU, Auburn, and Ohio State. I would say Brady's probably at the top of this list as to who is in the lead going into the Ohio State recruitment here. And it kind of makes sense if you stop and think about it. He's not a super highly recruited guy. Being a 3-star, he's not going to be scared by the 5 stars that are surrounding him. He can kind of come in, get developed, and maybe after a couple years, if he gets passed over or he doesn't see his place in the field, he can transfer because he's been developed at Ohio State, and that's got some cliche with it. That's got some pizzazz in the transfer portal. Hey, Ohio State quarterbacks entering the transfer portal. So this might be something to where, hey, I can come in, I can spend a couple years developing, I can get that tutelage from Ryan Day, Billy Fessler, and the coaching staff, and then maybe if things don't work out for me, I can jump over into the transfer portal and go get a nice starting position at another higher school than what is currently recruiting me. So something to possibly think about. Plus, it adds quarterback depth in your room. He'd come in. He'd probably be the third or fourth quarterback right away. So it's not like he's going to be expected to play, and he can kind of slow play that development. Just something to think about. Now, I've got one more name in the quarterback recruiting world that I want to talk about, and it's not one that anybody's talking about, to be quite honest with you. And maybe they should, given situation and the scenarios that I've laid out for you, okay? And that's Ohio's very own Nathan uh, Burnhard. Like I had to think of that name here. Nathan Burnhard. Huge guy, 6'5", 227-pound quarterback. Ranked 479th nationally, the 28th overall ranked quarterback according to the 247 composite. Ashland, Ohio, not a hotbed for recruiting in the state of Ohio, um, but they play schools like Mansfield Senior, Mansfield Madison, well, Worcester, Mount Vernon. Schools like that have been schools they've traditionally played. Lexington, which is for those of you who remember Cade Stover, he came from Lexington, Mansfield area, so they play at schools like that. He's his recruitment has been kind of slow again. He's got offers from Akron, here in the state locally, Louisville, Toledo. He's got offers from West Virginia and Indiana and Duke. So these are some of the schools that are recruiting him currently. He has been to Ohio State, so he has visited campus. Um, and so this is the kind of kid that, if you ask me my opinion, this is the kind of kid who you're probably going to end up with in the class. And that's not to say it's bad, okay? But let's talk about what he's done as a junior. 173 completions, 275 attempts, 1,718 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 266 yards rushing, and 8 touchdowns. Um, are those stats going to blow you away? No, they're not. But he's Ohio's top ranked quarterback in the class. Size, size does matter here, right? And this is the type of kid who ends up going to an Indiana or a Penn State or one of the surrounding border schools here in the Big Ten and is a thorn in your side. And more importantly than that, he bridges the gap and offers you depth. Here's what I mean by that. You have Taven St. Clair, like we talked about. You got the 5-star in the 2027 class. This is the type of kid who's going to be an Ohio kid. He bleeds scarlet and gray. He's probably raised a Buckeye fan. He's going to come in. He's going to be a great character. He's going to add you a character builder. He's going to add you great depth in your room, and he bridges that gap for you. And if something were to terrible were to happen, he's been on campus 3, maybe even 4 years, and he's developed, and he's a great veteran presence for you. Okay. Um, you run the risk if when you get kids like this, however, and I understand, of them transferring just like you would a 5-star. I get it. That's going to happen in today's college football world. But he might be less at risk to do that because of all those things I mentioned, the ties to the state, the fact that he doesn't have huge blown out of proportion expectations because he's not a 5-star, and he's kind of a local kid. Ashland's not that far from Columbus, probably about what, an hour and a half maybe. So this is a kid who's looking at Ohio State and saying that would be a dream low spot for me if I could get there. So I would seriously consider offering him. I don't believe he has an Ohio State offer yet, but I would seriously consider offering Nathan in kind of bridging the gap. Plus, you don't run the risk of upsetting your 2027 recruit who's already committed as well. Okay, so something for Ohio State to consider here, something for you as fans to consider as well. So those are the 6 guys who I have as your names to watch in the coming months when it comes to 2026 quarterback recruiting. If you ask me my wish list, Bo Bentley's number one for me. And if you can't get Bo Bentley, I would say Brady Schmeel's probably on the top of the list as someone who Ohio State might be able to get. After him, you got Brady Palmer. And if you're going to go after Brady Palmer, why not just go after Nathan? Why not just go after the local Ohio kid and Nathan Bernhard and get him? I mean, if you're going to get Brady Palmer, Bernhard's just as good, in my opinion. That's my 2 cents. Um, I think Lyons and Curtis are probably out of the realm of possibility at this time, but you never know. You continue to shoot your shot at the top guys. Who knows? Maybe one of them might end up landing on your lap. Um, all right, that being said, let me share a verse with you all this morning. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. It's always good to know that the Lord knows what's out ahead of us, right? And who knows? Maybe he knows which one of these quarterbacks Ohio State's going to end up with. Have a great Saturday, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. It's chilly here in central Ohio. I hope it's warmer wherever you are at. Don't forget, we will be back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, for our roundtable discussion show. It's a lot of fun to do it live and have the chat interact with all of us as we talk about the news, notes, and topics surrounding Ohio State football from the week that was in college football. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH and sing Carmen Ohio with all your heart. You all know what to do.